Hey everyone, welcome back to Assessing Livingston Parish with Jeff Taylor. Jeff Taylor, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jim. Everything resting, relaxed, and ready to
go. Always. And we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to start off with tax notices going out pretty soon.
Yep, we've had our open book period. We went to the board of review with the parish. Everything came through. We sent it over to the tax commission. We're on their agenda for the first part of October, sometime in there. And once they approve it, we will get a letter from them. We'll send it to the sheriff's office, and they will start printing up the tax notices. So we're hoping that maybe even a little bit before November, we get them out this year.
Yeah,
we had some people that really worked hard. Cindy out at our office does a great job, and she worked hard to make sure we had all of our information. Usually we're a little bit later getting to the tax commission,
right.
But this year we made sure that we got it there. We won't give people enough time to be able to prepare.
Very good. And speaking of taxes, look, you can't drive far in Denham Springs without seeing a sign that says PARDS on it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Obviously, you have nothing to do with that as far as this isn't anything to do with the assessor's office as far as they're adding to a tax. This is totally separate, but let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, you got the PARDS renewal that's coming up, and it is a renewal.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have called me and asked me, and I'm coming out with a statement. I told you that I'm going to be putting some things out because there's a lot of people, there's a little bit of confusion, and there's some people that just don't want to understand. Right. There's a big disconnect there. But PARDS already has a tax on the roll. Okay, this is a renewal. Their millage that they renewed back in 2015, 2016 was for 15 mills.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've had that on the books. So it's time to renew it, and they're going to be renewing a 15 mil tax. So people have asked me a bunch about, well, didn't they do this? Didn't they do that? That is all by the board. That's what they do. They did lower their millages to 10.72 over the last couple of years.
Right.
But they have the ability now to go back to 15 mills if they need to or if they want to. It's all them. That has nothing to do with the assessor's office. So a few of the questions that have been asked, and I shared them with you a little bit earlier,
sure.
is if they go back to 15 mills, will my taxes go up? Yes, your taxes would go up because they levied 10.72 before.
Right.
So anything above 10.72 means you will have an increase in your tax bill. Your assessment don't change, but you could have an increase. If I'm over 65, will my taxes go up if they go to 15 mills? Yes, because they charged 10.72 last year, and then they're going to 15 mills. So anything that goes above 10.72 will be an increase for you. Okay.
Right.
But you're also in a situation where you realize that they could have been doing this all along. They could have been charging you 15, and they tried to give some back, going to 10.72. So what they do from here on, so there's several people that ask me a lot of questions about, well, why didn't they do this? I'm not on the board. It's not my decision to make. None of that comes to the assessor's office.
Right.
And then I had somebody ask me the other day, or several people say, can you get us a copy of the budget? No. I don't have a copy of anybody's budget except for the assessor's office. Yeah. So you have a situation to where the PARDS board is going to vote to do what they think they need to do for their park.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how we're going to handle that.
And if someone does want to see that budget, I would imagine they contact PARDS.
They either contact PARDS or the parish. I would imagine the PARDS board has the budget, but I would imagine the parish council also has the budget. I don't know that, but I would imagine that since the parish council is the one that ultimately approves it, I would imagine the parish council has it.
Okay, very good. Can you give us a circumstance where if your house is $400,000, for example, how much would that cost?
Well, I'm going to put it in basic numbers. I'm not going to go to the 10.72. I'm going to make our math easy. Let's just say that PARDS is charging you 10 mills, okay? Right. And you got a $400,000 home. That means that you're going to pay $400. And anybody needs to know that math. I will help you with that if you want to call. But that means you're going to be paying $400 total to PARDS.
Okay.
Okay. If you were at 15 mills, that means you're going to pay $600. Okay. So that tells you about where you're going to be just to PARDS. Now you got to understand that don't mean that's your tax bill.
Yeah, that's not your total.
That's just to PARDS. So
don't get excited.
I don't want anybody to be calling up and saying you said our tax bill was going to be $400. Right. That's the part that you're going to be paying to PARDS.
Yeah.
If you got a $600,000 home, 10 meals is going to be $600. 15 meals is going to be $900. that you're going to be paying straight to PARDS.
Right.
Okay. Now, same thing can be said about a fire department. Same thing can be said about a sheriff's office. All we do is put the numbers in there.
Sure.
So whatever happens, if you vote this in, this is what the millage is going to be, and this is where they can be, or they can be anything lower than that. They can't be more than 15, but they can be lower than that. And so that's going to be up to the board to decide what to do on that.
And when does this go to vote?
It's this Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
And then the election is the first part of October, somewhere in there. And so it goes to the vote of the people. One of the things that I was asked is, if this doesn't pass, will PARDS close? I don't know. Yeah. I don't do their budget. That's not on me. What I can tell you is that the money that comes in for the tax bills that are going out right now, it'll be for the whole next year. And then they'll have to do something for 26, but 25 will be funded. 25 and 26 up until next year's tax bill, it will be funded.
Right.
So I do know that. And so there's some confusion. Well, if they don't pass it, the park's going to close.
That is actually a legit question as to, I guess, as someone on the outside looking in. So they collect a certain millage now. Mm-hmm. If this doesn't pass, does it default to that millage again, or how does
if it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. If they get if we reject this, they do not have a renewal. They would have to come back again and see if the people would vote for it.
I got
so
you.
They would go to a 0. So they would collect nothing. Okay, so that would be substantial. Okay. Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't come back and ask for a lower amount. That's been asked several times. Whether they're at 15 and they assess 10.72 mills, what if we went back to that? That is strictly up to the parish and to the board whether or not they want to do that if this one doesn't pass.
Gotcha.
But they are going to have money for the rest of 25 and 26 next year because that's already been done. So the parks would not close now.
Right.
Now, what would happen after that? I don't know. That would be up to the parish and the boards to decide.
Yeah, and then eventually the people. They would have to.
Well, it's going to come down to the people anyway.
Sure.
They're either going to have to vote it in or not.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Let's talk about mapping systems just quickly.
Man, I am excited about my mapping system. See, I've always thought that it was just fantastic, the map that we had.
Yeah.
Well, then we got to looking at it, and it's an old map, but it was still doing the basics for us and everything, which we thought was really good until you go and see. See, you really think you've got it good until you find out that other people have it better.
Right.
And then they start talking about it, and you're like, your ears perk up, and you're not listening to what the speaker's saying. You're listening to what these people over here are saying. And you're like, okay, I need to pay attention here because, okay, their map is. We've got so many layers on our map that it slowed us down so much because we wanted to make sure that you had everything on that map. If JoJo was using that map to get this particular information, we wanted to make sure we had a layer for him.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem with that, the more layers you put on it, the slower it makes your map.
Sure.
So we was getting slower and slower and slower. So I talked to one of our constituents. He said, I use this all the time, but it keeps getting hung up on me. I said, well, I'm not noticing that. You're the only one. But we checked it out, and he had some things that he would need to fix on his computer, but we also had some things we need to fix. Well, we jumped out there and I said, well, y'all, they've got these other maps that come on here, and they're not having to use all these layers. These layers are built into the program.
Right.
Already, so it speeds it back up. So we went and looked at it, and all of a sudden you realize that, man, it's just you hit a button, it's there.
Yeah.
You're not waiting for it to buffer and everything. And then all of this stuff comes out on the map, and it shows everything. It shows everything that you need right there. I don't have to go and layer it. I don't have to learn all the layers to see who my school district is or my Senate representative or the sheriff's office or what fire district I'm in. It's already in there. So when it pops up there, it shows you all this information, and you do it at one time. Real estate agents are going to love this.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt about it. And look, if you've never been to the website for the assessor's office in Livingston Parish, go check it out. Mm-hmm. It really is informative. Some websites are just up there to have a presence. Not Jeff Taylor's assessor's office website. Yeah. It's an informative website. It's very useful. Answers a lot of questions that people would have even prior to calling the assessor's office. It'll answer in the frequently asked questions section a lot of things that people may save you a phone call.
Well, one of the things that we did, and we were one of the first in the state to do it. Why? Because why not Livingston?
That's
so
right.
We were one of the first ones that could do homestead exemptions online.
Yeah.
Okay. We put it, and everybody said, well, you can't do that. They got to come into the office. Not necessarily. If we put all the information out there, they fill it in, Now, we're going to verify it.
Yeah, sure.
But we're going to fill it in. That saves you a trip out to the office.
It's huge.
You don't have to come out there. Now, you can come out and drink coffee. You can sit around and talk. We can shoot the bull around the table and all that kind of stuff. But if you're busy, like most people are, they can take 2 minutes to fill out that homestead once they buy the house, or they can take 2.5 hours or take half the day off work and come out there to the assessor's office. Which one you want to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've done more and more of those things to where you can actually do a lot of stuff online and save you time.
Yeah.
We talked about it the other day. We had lunch with what we call our media team.
Yeah.
And what was there? There 5, 6, 7 groups.
Yeah.
We had podcasts. We had news. We had print. We just had billboards. We had all of them there.
Yep.
And the one thing that we talked about was the fact of the transparency in our office. We're putting out information as fast as we can possibly get it. We're spending a lot of money to make sure you as a constituent in Livingston know everything that you want to know about our office. Okay?
There's no doubt.
We're just putting it out there. I don't have anything to hide, because here's the thing I always tell people, and they say, well, you're putting all that information out. You can get it any way you want to. You can do public records. You can come into our office. You can get it any way you want to. So the information is available. So why not make it easy for people to just access it?
Yeah.
Why make it harder for our constituents to get it than just ask for it?
Right.
Yeah. Just put it out there.
Put it out there, and no one does it better than your office when it comes to that.
I appreciate that. We're doing our best to do it.
I see you almost every night on WAFB.
So when you look at it,
Wendy always says, "There's Jeff Taylor."
I told him, I said, I want people of this parish to say after a while, he is on more than the attorneys are.
Yeah.
You think about that. We're on more than Morris Bart and all the other attorneys doing all this stuff. We're showing you. Call us.
Yeah.
Call us. Call us. You drive by. You still have problems with this. You do know as a veteran you can get this reduction in your deal. It's a billboard.
Yeah.
And then you go to a restaurant. All my little nephews and nieces and everything, they said, there's EI, because they see me. There it is. It's up there. You want to do your homestead, you want to do a freeze form, you want to do all this stuff. It's there.
It's there.
I mean, how much more can you have than that? We're doing town hall meetings. We're doing print. We're doing podcast here with you. We've got Action 17. We're doing interviews with them. Live with Kieran. We're doing things like that. We're just putting the information. Here it is. Here it is. And if you want something else, call us.
Yeah.
If you say, well, I didn't see this on there, would you mind doing it? Yeah, we'll do it.
Perfect.
Now, the thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to get involved in other people's taxes.
Yeah.
Understand, I'm willing to put out facts and statements, but I'm not going to get over there and take an opinion.
Sure.
And I'm not going to give you my opinion on any of these, because why? Because I assess that property.
Yeah.
And as soon as I take a side, the other side's going to blame me for being friendly to that side.
Right.
So the best thing to do is for you not to know my stances on things. Now, if you want to call me at my house as Citizen Jeff Taylor, me and you may talk.
Yeah.
But on that, you're not ever going to see me do that.
Yeah. Very good. Well, let's talk about ITEPs quickly.
Okay.
Tell me about that. Well, first of all, for those that may not realize what that is, maybe break down what an ITEP.
Well, it's Industrial Tax Exemption Program is what it's called. So they just go to ITEP. And that's when you get a company to come in and you give them tax incentives to come in. You may not charge them taxes, or you may give them tax breaks over a 10-year period for them to bring in. And in the meantime, they're supposed to give you something back.
Sure.
Whether it be jobs, whether it be sales tax dollars, all these things. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
Okay. But you give them breaks. Everybody does it. They give them breaks to make sure that they come into your parish, because what do we need here? We need industry. We need businesses. Right now, we're a very bedroom community, residential heavy. 70-something% of our tax roll is residential. Yeah. So all of the burden is on our residents. So we want to welcome in here.
Sure.
But you got to make sure that it works.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, you need to call it out.
Yeah. And, I believe Bass Pro Shops, when it came in, was probably on an ITEP. That's probably a good example.
I think they were ITEP. They may have been the other one, like a pilot or something like that, but they were of the same thinking, yes.
So you're attracting industry with an agreement that then industry will you hate to say guarantee, but it's kind of what it is. Mm-hmm. They're guaranteeing a certain amount of jobs, a certain amount of tax dollars, and all of these sort of things in the future. And you know, if Buc-ee's wanted to put a location, knock on wood, somewhere
right down the road here,
you know, you can look at the history of that company well enough to see that, wow, that's going to bring in $25 million in tax revenue a year alone.
Every year. And Bass Pro did that. When Bass Pro come in, they said it's going to take us 30 years to pay that. They paid them off 17.
Yeah.
And now they're fully on the rolls.
Yep.
And they're a good neighbor.
Yeah.
They are sitting here, they're paying taxes. So we're getting on the inventory. We was already getting it on the inventory.
Yeah.
But now we're getting it on the building. We're getting it all this stuff.
And people come in and they spend money at the restaurants, and Big Mike may.
And everything around Bass Pro came in because Bass Pro put it there. And so all of a sudden you had all these other smaller businesses right there. But like you said, that's all tax dollars.
Yeah.
And it's all property tax dollars. It's all sales tax. It's everything that's what it's supposed to do.
That's right. So it's a good thing when it functions properly. But the onus is on the business to live up to their end, and the entity, in this case Livingston Parish, to live up to their end. And it's just an agreement that if it works perfectly, it works out for everybody.
Everybody gets it.
Yeah.
The situation is now to get an ITEP into your parish, there's the three entities have to vote on it. And they, at one point they had to be 2 out of 3, and then it went to unanimous, and then LED come involved in it. But the three entities are the school board, the sheriff's office, and the parish council.
Yeah.
So they have to vote on whether or not they want to give this ITEP.
Yeah.
Okay? The rest of the districts do not get any say in it at all. Okay. So even though you're giving up the dollars for the fire department, they don't get any input.
Yeah.
So the fire department gets all of their money from property taxes.
Sure.
Okay. So you're giving away the property tax dollars, and you're not giving them any input in the say of how it goes. So you understand where a fire department says, well, wait a minute. It's easy for you to give this up because you get sales taxes. Each one of those gets sales taxes.
Sure.
And fees and all the stuff like that. But when you're completely 100% depending on the property taxes for your budget, you have to pay a little bit more attention to what you give away.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that it works.
That's right. That's right. And it is. It's an agreement, and people have to live up to that, unfortunately. And you know, I know there's been cases in the past where it's come into question, and nobody feel, you know, I would imagine from the parish side of things, they want to see nothing but success with that program.
Sure.
And everybody involved who is getting that benefit of that program, they want that person to succeed, and they want that person or business to thrive, because that was the whole point. But
after 10
unfortunately,
years,
you have to call to question sometimes.
After 10 years, it goes on, and you get the full benefit of it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the way it's supposed to work. You got a situation now, back in 2017, 18, we had one that came in.
Yeah.
Not going to say who it is. I'm just going to tell you that we had one come in. The numbers didn't work.
Yeah.
So we put the numbers together. We released that to all the entities saying, these numbers do not work. I went to each one of their meetings and said, the numbers don't work. The only one that came close to working was the parish council.
Yeah.
Theirs came close to working. But I've just, over the weekend, I received again that they're in non-compliance.
Yeah.
This company. So I'm hoping that the parish is going to deal with this, because I think we have fined them $2,500 for the years, and I think we're in the fourth, fifth, or sixth year that they've been in non-compliance.
Yeah.
Well, we gave them a break of $1 million to $1.5 million on their taxes. That's money that could be coming into our parish, that should have been coming into our parish, and all of a sudden we don't have a problem passing a tax on our people for PARDS.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a business not being in compliance, we're going to charge them $2,500.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, Jim, and I asked you this a little bit earlier, so I already know your answer, but the people in Livingston have not heard this. If I came to you and said, I'm going to save you $1 to $1.5 million over the next 10 years in taxes, but you've got to reach this level, but you don't reach that level and I only charge you $2,500 a year for 10 years, would you sign a contract if I said I'd give you $1 million to $1.5 million, but it's going to cost you $25,000 you got to give back to the parish? Would you sign that contract today?
Today.
I'd sign it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, that's what we're doing. We've done our part. Livingston Parish has done our part.
Yeah.
And we've given you the tax break. We haven't got yours. And I'm getting the numbers not from the sheriff's office, not from the parish, not from the school board. I'm getting it from LED. The state is saying you're not in compliance.
Yeah.
And I can go back and print every one of those out that they've showed you're not in compliance.
Yeah.
When are we going to take that ITEP away? And everybody says, well, wait a minute, if you take it away, they may not be in business. We're not getting anything from it anyway.
Yeah.
We're not getting our share.
Yeah.
This is what should be paid to our parish. When are we as a people going to stand up and say, you don't come into Livingston Parish and don't do what you say?
Yeah.
Because you expect me to do what I say. If I were to do this and I was to not meet my obligations, how long do you think it would be before people started really questioning Jeff Taylor and wanting him out? But in 2018, when I was there giving you the numbers saying this is not going to work, it is not going to work. There's no way that this is going to work. It didn't work even if they would have provided the jobs for us.
Yeah.
But with them not doing that, it's certainly not working. So when are we as a government going to stand up and say, we expect you to honor your word?
Yeah.
Because I expect Jim Chapman to honor his word.
100%. And I would expect you to expect that.
Yeah,
and
what
I would honor it.
Yeah.
You know,
so that's the question about the
tough
ITEPs.
part of business.
When you bring them in, and you understand people go through, we had COVID, got it. So 2 of those years you didn't get it. But the other 3, other 4, we're still not there.
Yeah.
And it was pushed by a bunch of people that this was going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not okay. It's not okay that you owe this to my parish.
Yeah.
And I think that we should go back and collect that $1.5 million.
Yeah.
That's what I think you ought to do. I don't get a vote in it.
Sure.
That's not my decision. It's for the others to vote on that. But I sure know that $2,500 a year is not the way to go.
Yeah.
Because there's no incentive for them to reach anything. You go back and take that ITEP away, they'll probably pick it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
That explains ITEPs.
Yep.
All right. Let's get into just quickly before we get out of here. I'm going to spring this on you a little bit, but I thought of 5 ways that we could, that the assessments can save people money every year. And I came up with some ways, and I'm going to name some ways, and then you just briefly explain.
Am I really getting? Okay.
Yeah, these are good.
Okay.
Leave people with something positive today. If you're 65 years or older, is that a way to save money on your assessment?
Absolutely. It's not a way to save on your assessment. What your assessment does is gets frozen.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't go up every year. Your assessment stays the same as long as you follow certain rules. Number 1 is you live in Livingston Parish, or any parish that you live in, you get in any parish, and you make less than $100,000.
Okay.
Now, it's important for us to know that on the ballot in March or April, it's a constitutional deal to raise that from $100,000 to $150,000. So if you're 65 and you're making $130,000, you want to pay real attention to that, because at $150,000 your assessment is frozen. That doesn't mean you don't pay taxes. That's the things we can't get the legislators to understand. Yeah. They're like, well, we don't think that people that make over $100,000, we think they should be paying taxes. They are. It's just paying what they started at 65.
Sure.
At 65, their income is frozen, but we don't want to freeze their assessment.
Yeah.
So somebody making $99,999 can have an assessment frozen, and somebody making $100,000 cannot have their assessment frozen.
Right.
Tell me where the fairness is in that.
Yeah.
So we asked that they remove the income, and the legislature wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the truth of the matter is that 65 is 65. I don't believe in discrimination on income, race, religion. I don't believe in discrimination. Period.
Right.
So I think that when you discriminate against somebody just because they made a little bit more money in their lifetime, I think that is wrong.
Yeah.
So what we should have done is remove the income cap and just said at 65 your assessment is frozen, period.
Right.
Well, now people's got to come into my office. They got to come all the way out there at 70 years old, 65. They don't feel like coming out to the assessor's office. Jim, they've done all their stuff, but they've got to come out there. They've got to sign this freeze form. And it should have just been that they can go online and show that their income was less than $100,000. Look, Justin Centani over in Lafayette, he turned me on to something about a month and a half ago. We can get that information already from the government. We know. We don't have to ask you, and we don't have to have people be dishonest with us. We can tell you what your net income is based off of numbers that I can already get, and I can tell you if you qualify before you even come in. So I can then start just saying, hey, you're 65, you make less than $100,000, you get a freeze. Period. Done. Yeah. Whereas now we got to go through all this stuff. I got to have 4 people trying to work on this stuff, making sure that I got to send somebody out there. They got to verify all this. And it's ridiculous how many things that we make people go through hoops just to say that we've done something.
Right.
And the truth of the matter is there's so many things that we can do easier.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. How about if you are permanently disabled?
Permanently disabled means that you can get a freeze.
Yeah.
Even
at 40.
Even at 40. Yeah. If you're permanently disabled, especially if you're military. Military disability. Now, the big thing, are you going to ask about the military?
I was.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to jump back on the permanently disabled. You can get your assessment frozen.
Yeah.
Okay, you can get it frozen.
Very good. If you're a disabled veteran.
You do not even have an assessment. You have an assessment. It's on our rolls, but if you're 100% disabled and a veteran, you pay 0 taxes.
Yeah.
How great is it that we finally give our veterans something?
Huge.
We finally give it, and I have people all the time jump up and say, well, the more assessments and the more discounts and everything you give and everything, it's costing money.
Yeah.
Yeah. When they were over there walking those 10-mile hikes and everything like that to make sure that I'm safe, when they're over there fighting and they become disabled or disfigured or anything like that, I think that they should never have to pay a property tax. I think they should absolutely not have to pay it. So we put this in now that you get assessed. We have to have it on the rolls. We got to show our taxable value.
Sure.
But then you get completely covered 100%. If you're 100% disabled, you have 0 taxes.
Amen. And, even if you're 50 to 69% disabled,
it breaks down from there.
Yeah,
you get a
25,000. Mm-hmm. If you're 70 to 99, it's an extra 45,000 on your homestead. And as you said, 100% is a total exemption.
Yep. Absolutely. So those are ways to look at it. If you've got a family member out there that's 100% disabled, we talked about this the other day. We have done everything we can to get the word out there. Like we said, billboards, podcasts, news, everywhere. There are still people that come in and say, well, I'm 75 years old. I didn't know about this freeze form. They just don't know.
Yeah.
If we're not reaching them, so we're coming up with more ways to reach these people. And we're coming up with everything. So if they don't know, we go back. What I do is I go all the way back to the reassessment closest to their 65th birthday, whatever they were on at 65, and I go back to that assessment because that's what they should have had.
Yeah.
They just didn't know.
Right.
Now, I can be hard and say, well, it's not my fault. We're going to freeze you here. I don't do that. At 65, they should have got it.
Yeah.
At 100% disabled, they should have got it. Whatever that was. So at 100% military, it doesn't matter. I can put them on at $1 million.
Yeah.
They don't pay property tax. But that person is 65 whose income is frozen. Now they're 75. 2 assessments or 3 reassessments later, all of a sudden you hit that one in 2024 and you went up 40%, and you should have been frozen back here. That affects your pocketbook.
Sure.
And so we go back and fix that.
Very good. And so we've given you 3. Number 4 out of these 5. Amendment number 3, first responders.
Mm-hmm. First responders get an extra $25,000, $2,500 assessed value, because everything's on 10s.
Sure.
So all of our first responders. Now, here's what's crazy. If you don't live in the parish, you don't get it.
Right.
Unless you're a state trooper or unless you're a fireman. Okay. So somebody that lives in Livingston Parish and works for the Baton Rouge Police Department, they do not get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, in all the wisdom, I went in and I said, I don't really get it. A first responder is a first responder is a first responder. So if you're a police officer, I think you should also get it.
Right.
Legislature didn't see it my way. They said no. We're going back. We're going to go back and ask them to look at that again.
Yeah.
One of the problems that we had was first responder is a kind of a wide net.
Sure.
It's a huge net.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that figured out that it was a wide net. So we had people that was coming in and say, well,
I'm a nurse.
I'm a nurse.
Yeah.
I'm a minister. I'm a school teacher. So when things happen, we're the first ones there. And the legislature did not see that. You've got to be in the first responder.
Yeah. I'm a podcaster.
I'm a podcaster. I'm getting the news out.
Yeah.
It's like I told them, I said,
That's
as
right.
soon as something happens, my guys are on the ground. We're flying drones and everything, taking pictures of everything. We're first responder.
You got to be a public entity. So if
Yeah.
you're a privately owned company like
Katie and Ambulance, they don't get it.
Which is, well,
Again,
you're definitely a first responder. I'll say that.
again, what I'm going to say is sometimes in the wisdom, we don't think all the way through it.
Right.
So we need to go back in and help. You got to realize that these legislators that are over there, okay, they see 1,000 bills, 1,500 bills.
Yeah.
And so they depend on us to help them.
Sure.
Now, the reason I've had such a good relationship with my legislative delegation all the way back to 2020 when I came, or 2000 when I came into office, was because they know that I'm not going to tell them something that's not true.
Yeah.
If I come to you and say, this is what this bill does, this is what this bill does.
Yeah.
And they've even told me something that didn't really help your argument. Yeah, I know, but this is what it does. I felt like you needed to know what this is. Or sometimes I tell them, the Assessors Association is supporting this bill. Let me tell you why I'm not supporting this bill. And I give them the reasons. Or the assessor's deal is not supporting whatever.
Sure.
Whatever. And I go in and I tell them, and they tell me, they say, well, whether you win or lose on it, you're going to tell us what it does. That's how you get the trust of them. So now when we get assessors' bills that come up, Dale Erdy and Mr. Rogers Pope and all the legislators, Valerie and Roger, the former ones, Rick Edmonds, they'll call me and say, okay, this is to do with assessments. Tell me again what it was so I don't have to hear all the legalese. Tell me what it does. Break it down for me. But it does this, this, and this.
Yeah.
It's going to take it from $100,000 for a freeze up to $150,000, period. That's it.
Yeah.
Does nothing else. You can read this whole breakout like this. This is what it does. Well, they know they can trust me.
Sure.
And so when they have a problem with assessments or they have a bill that comes up, they will come in there.
Absolutely.
But if I lied to them one time, I'm never going to get them back.
That's right. That's right. And, just to close that out, if you're curious, you need to bring in some sort of notarized document from your employer proving that you are a
First responder.
And
It's got to be signed by your supervisor, and it's got to be notarized.
Yep. And I was surprised to see that, not surprised because they are first responders, but happy to see them included, 911 dispatchers. Mm-hmm. So if you're a 911 dispatcher out there and you're in Livingston Parish and it's a public, it would be if it was 911, it's obviously a public entity. Call the assessor's office and get your discount.
Get your discount. Here's what I tell people. If you think you are, call.
Yeah.
We'll let you know.
Good policy.
I know which ones are allowed and which ones are not. Call.
Yeah.
That's why we have phones.
That's it.
The phone is not a nuisance to us. Call.
Yeah.
Come out.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want to do. But I just know that, when we started doing the 410s, people was like, oh, that's never going to work, never going to work, never going to work. I said, it's absolutely going to work. I said, because I am keeping people from having to take off from work. Another 8 to 4, it does nothing for anybody.
Yeah.
Because it's still those banker's hours that they're sitting there. But if I open at 7:30 and I close at 5:30, well, now you can get there before or you can get there after. That's so right. It's saving a lot of time. Another day of being open at the same time does nothing.
Yeah.
But you put that extra time on the end of the day or before the day, and a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people we come in that come in before and after work.
That's right.
Because they don't have to take off work.
Well, I saved the best one for last out of these 5 ways.
All right.
And that is attend millage meetings and hold your districts accountable.
Jim,
great way.
You and I have, we've been dealing with this for a while.
Yeah.
You know that I've been dealing with it, and you've came on and you helped me with these. Y'all show up at the millage meetings. We had a millage meeting, and look, you got to know the districts were not pleased with me. I didn't get invited to Christmas lunches and everything because I'm dealing with their money.
Yeah.
And what I tried to tell them was, I'm not dealing with your money. What I'm telling you is it's not the assessor's place to defend your budget.
That's right. You
need to come in, let the people know. If you need your full amount, come in and explain that I need my full amount.
Yeah.
Don't have the assessor's office who has no way to know your budget.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. So I'm over there, and I'm basically, just because you're my friend, I'm saying, oh, yeah, they need the money and everything. I don't know if you do or not.
Yeah.
I know what my budget is, and I can tell you down to the penny what I got in my bank account every day. I pay attention to it,
Sure.
and I know what I'm spending every month. It drives them crazy,
Sure.
okay, my accountant and everything. But I want to know,
Yeah.
is there a way that we can cut? Is there a way that we have to, do we need more money over here? So all we've ever said in these district meetings is come in, talk to your constituents. And so to their credit, a bunch of them came in the last 2 years, and 1 year we had 10 people show up,
Yeah.
and the next year we had 28 people.
Yeah.
But when you go on Facebook, there is 10,000 throwing a fit about the fact that these millages are passing. Look, they don't put these elections on off dates. You can go on the calendar right now, and you know what dates taxes are being held. All election dates are listed on the Secretary of State's.
Yeah.
Don't blame them because they put it on a certain date. Blame yourself for not going out and voting. If you're against it, go vote against it. But don't be lackadaisical and say, oh, it's on a day that nobody knows. Everybody knows what they are if you want to learn them.
Yeah.
And there's places they put them on there. So when they put them on there, go vote.
Yeah.
Don't take the excuse, well, they put it on an off election. I don't understand what people are saying. You want to put them, but the dates are listed. And right now, that's what the dates are allowed to be an election.
Yeah.
Go vote. If you like the PARDS tax, go vote for it. If you don't like the PARDS tax, go vote against it. But don't sit there and wait for your tax notice to come out and then all of a sudden call me up and throw in a fit about the fact that your taxes went up. I don't do taxes.
Yep.
And for the next 3 years, reassessments in 24, so 25, 26, 27, 28, your assessment don't change. It changes in 28. I'm sorry, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Your assessment's going to stay the same unless you add on to your house and all those kind of things.
Sure.
But your assessment's going to stay the same. If your taxes go up, it's because the districts raised your amount of millage they charge. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's nothing more to it. It's not a trick. It's not anything. It's that simple. You take 100,000 times your millage. And if last year you was paying $100 in taxes and this year you're paying $150, it's millages because your assessment did not change. Right. And until we convince people and show them and continue to go into these things where we're releasing all this information, as long as they continue to think it's the assessor's office, the districts are not going to take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
Because once the tax notices go out, you can shoot a cannon off. Ain't nobody there.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
But all of a sudden, when you hold them accountable and say, come to this meeting, they don't want to come.
Yeah.
Because they know they're going to have to answer the question. But to the credit for the districts this year, they came.
They came.
They did.
They came. They were there. I was there.
Yep.
And so that is 5 ways.
What did I pass?
You did pass.
I passed. Okay.
Flying colors, straight A.
Okay.
5 ways to save money on your assessment. And just quickly before we get out of here, 3-0 LSU Tigers has nothing to do with assessing, but we love our Tigers.
Loving everything with the Tigers.
Yeah.
There's a few things that make me happy in football. 3-0 LSU.
Yeah.
They beat my Lions this past weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Lions were completely outmatched and everything. Everybody knew that, but I think the Lions got a pretty good little paycheck to go back over there and maybe help with some things. But I was proud of the way I saw something that was on one of the telecasts that when the Lions left the locker room, it was completely clean.
Come on.
They had cleaned the locker room completely.
Wow.
Before they left. That's an appreciation for letting us come in here and you're going to pay us money. We're going to clean up your locker room.
It's a well-coached team.
Well-coached team.
Yeah.
Well-disciplined team.
Yeah.
So I was proud of my Lions. Pulled for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want the Tigers to somehow lose a game and all of a sudden be knocked out. Football season to me is when Alabama is knocked out of the playoffs or they're knocked out and their season is over, and when the Dallas Cowboys are knocked out and they no longer get to play.
Yeah.
That's joyful to me when that happens. LSU and Ohio State are my teams that I pull for. Alabama and Dallas are the teams I pull against.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my football. So
3-0
for Ohio State and LSU is a great thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of the same way, and I dislike the same teams you dislike. Interestingly enough, sad to see that Joe Burrow hurt his toe. He's got turf toe.
Turf toe.
Out for 3 months. Man, I feel so bad for Joe Burrow.
What is happening? What is happening that these quarterbacks are ending up with this turf toe? because there's something. I went and looked it up. I was like, man, how bad can your toe hurt? Well, when you pull that tendon completely out of the big foot, you're not doing much.
Yeah, it's like a constant
So
Charlie
what is
horse.
now causing all of these things? We went in and we did the research on the concussions. We went in and we took some plays out to where you couldn't do. What fixes turf toe for these quarterbacks and these running backs? Because there's something that's causing some major injury. When you're out for 3 months and you got to have surgery and everything, that's a decent size injury when your team is dependent on Joe Burrow to be out there.
Especially when you're Joe Burrow, and I feel so bad for him because he was injured several times throughout his pro career. And man, he's so good when he's healthy.
So good. Could you imagine him being with a team that look? Kansas City is good. They got Patrick Mahomes. Put Joe Burrow over there.
Oh, yeah.
They ain't going to miss a beat. They're going to just keep on going. Philadelphia, all these things. The Saints, I don't want to see him come to the Saints because he's going to be in the same boat he's in now.
Yeah.
They've got to get something up in Cincinnati where they protect this guy. Yeah. Because you keep him upright, and he's going to score.
That's right.
He's going to score.
Just look at LSU's 2019 team, and, they kept him upright.
Absolutely.
Wow.
A couple of years ago, my son, he and I were trying to go to all the NFL stadiums. And so we went to Cincinnati, and he bought us tickets to standing room only, okay? And they had a section that you could stand there, and we were close enough to hear Joe Burrow call out the plays.
Come on.
Okay?
Wow.
So we watched this man and his magic and how he would be up there, and he'd say, kill over here, kill over here. We call this, don't do that, don't do that. He's right there. He's got you. He would call it out on the field.
Yeah.
Now, I know he practiced it and all those things, but the way he did it was you knew you had true leadership out there. And I watched greatness that night, and I was probably 20 yards away from him.
Yeah.
Because you got the end zone, and then we were right there, standing room only, like froze to death. It was cold, but man, it was so cool to be able to hear him, and I'm forever grateful my son got me those tickets.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll have to do that one day. That sounds like fun. Well, thank you so much for coming on and enlightening us, as you always do on this podcast on assessments.
And Jim, it was a little long,
all of that.
But the truth of the matter is, if you listen to the information we got here, that's how much information we have. It's just that, and we're talking fast, but you need to pay attention to the information that's coming out there. And I know people say, well, keep it short and everything, go right to the point. Well, I can go to the point on one, but I got 20 more that you need to know. Well, and so we're going to be releasing some shorter excerpts, but you need to listen to this podcast and see all the things that you can do. Those 5 questions were great questions.
Yeah.
That if everybody in the parish would listen to those 5, we would cut down on people not getting their breaks a lot.
That's right.
Just on those 5 that you asked.
And that's the beauty of a podcast. You know, you can go into detail a little bit, and sometimes people need detail. You can't spit it out in 30 seconds.
I agree, 100%.
So thank you again.
Thank you.
And we will see y'all next time.